Hi, my name is Caroline McAllister, and I was a second grade teacher for 2 years at Orangeburg Preparatory Schools in Orangeburg, South Carolina. During those 2 years, I fell in love with the profession of teaching. I took a year off to further my talents and obtain my master's in reading with a concentration in early childhood. After obtaining this degree, I planned on working as a reading interventionist for several years, getting a lot of experience, and then ultimately becoming a principal of an elementary school within my area. So, two main things I'm going to speak about in this video are differentiated learning and engagement in the classroom. What is differentiation and how it relates to brain-based learning in my future professional setting? Differentiated learning is a tactic educators use to modify their lessons to produce a more student-centered curriculum. Students of all types, whether they are low, high, math-minded, English-minded, or average, will all benefit since the curriculum will be more tailored to their individualized needs. One practice teachers who utilize differentiated learning do is adjust their lessons based on results from previous tests. Retrieving information is an important component in brain-based learning. Retrieving information helps students grasp a firm understanding of certain material in a subject so their knowledge can smoothly flow into what is being taught next with an adequate initial understanding from the previous lesson. One beneficial method of retrieval practice is a component of differentiated learning. Teachers can observe the results from a previous assessment and design lesson plans based on where their students thrived and struggled in post-test to ensure they have retrieved adequate knowledge before moving on to the next academic standard. At least 1 to 2 specific ways to bring differentiated brain-based learning into my future professional setting. One that I found very beneficial, even in my first 2 years of teaching, was mock testing. This is a form of productive retrieval practice. In order to observe the most beneficial results, the mock test needs to be constructed in the same format as the official assessment. So, if the majority of the test is multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer, etc., the mock test needs to be very similar to the official assessment. After the mock test is administered, the teacher needs to ensure a review session is implemented. The students can correct the answers they inadvertently answered wrong, and the teacher can tailor the review session to ensure to meet the needs of what their students are struggling with. A second method to ensure differentiated learning is being practiced in my future professional setting is providing a variety of instructional approaches. Some children learn better visually, some are auditory learners, and some are hands-on and will benefit with a kinesthetic tailored instruction. Utilizing sensory memory tactics in my future career after adjusting to the needs of my students will be an excellent way to ensure differentiated learning is taking place. Moving on now to engagement. What engagement is and how it relates to brain-based learning in my future professional setting. Engagement within the mind of a student is how well they interconnect the material in a given lesson and if they are able to interpret it more thoroughly than a surface level understanding. As educators, we strive for our students to be not only procedurally engaged in ensuring classroom rules are followed, but substantially engaged as well to ensure deepened connections are made within the material that is being taught. There are 4 brain chemicals that we can utilize to ensure substantial engagement in the classroom. They are serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, and norepinephrine. If these 4 chemicals are properly activated, our students' brains will in turn be completely engaged and mimic a supreme and most beneficial academic setting. Minimum of 1 to 2 specific ways to bring engagement through brain-based learning into my future professional setting. One way to produce better classroom engagement for students is providing ways for serotonin to be released. As the aesthetic of a classroom and design is a way to produce serotonin since it will allow students to feel good coming into an inviting room. Class plants, having a board filled with students' work, having reading beanbags by the classroom library are indicators of an inviting classroom and will in turn allow students to feel ready to learn since their environment is instrumental to learning. A second way to produce effective engagement is by activating the chemical dopamine in our students' brains. Ways to ensure we as educators are accomplishing this task is by playing music at a moment that will be conducive to our students' learning. It will result in a creative-minded classroom, and the students will in turn be more receptive to the given material. Effective feedback tailored to each child's circumstance will allow dopamine levels to rise as well. Don't just say, "good job," when a child performs well. That is something that is very bland and it's not very tailored to their needs. Knight 2017, in an article that I pulled for the specific video, gave an example of saying, "I love how you overcame that last grade with better study habits. I can tell you are really trying." Assessing the need of the student and then giving feedback and capitalizing on the progress and ensure students know we have noted their efforts is a way to produce better dopamine and will in turn make the child more engaged within the academic setting. So these are some certain ways that I have found very effective within my first 2 years of teaching, but then I've found some other ways within this week that I would like to implement into my future professional setting. Engagement and differentiated learning are two very important components to having a beneficial classroom that will ultimately reach the needs of all my students. Thank you.